Welcome to Sport Africa, wherever you are across the world. My name is Ashalolu Femi. Once again, we send a happy new month to you. And apologies, we could not bring you our regular recording last Monday. It was due to some technical issues, but thank God we are back now. So much on our plate today to serve you. And trust me, it's going to be a very wonderful time on the show. Kyle Gundari and James Agrebi, they are here. And today, trust me, it's going to be a very loaded one for you, like never before. Guys, you're welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you very much, Femi. It's a pleasure to be here, as usual.
Yeah, Femi, thank you. Happy to be on today's edition.
All right, so of course, let's take you through our regular program. We're taking you through our continental roundup, then the big talking points, as well as our stand diaspora and the big match on the continent today. So let's get started. Of course, trouble, turmoil, whatever you can call it, is brewing in the Cameroon football after the Ministry of Sport announced the appointment of a new coach without the prior knowledge of the Sport Federation. That is generating serious controversy in Cameroon. And of course, we'll be talking about the Super Eagles of Nigeria, where, so to say, not too much, but there has been a lot of controversy about who is going to be the new head coach of the Super Eagles. The North, so to say, are clamoring that it is their turn to lead the Super Eagles. And ex-internationals are divided on who deserve the job between Finidi George, who is the interim manager, and as well as former under-17 coach Emmanuel Amuneke. They have to take it to Ethiopia, where a very terrible thing happened last month about a player who took his life. So much to talk about. And of course, the Olympic qualifiers are here today. The Super Falcons of Nigeria will be taking on the Bayana in Abuja, while of course in Zambia you will have of course the Copper Queens taking on the Atlas Lionesses of Morocco. So much to talk about on the show today. Guys, let's get started. James, let's get started with you. I'm sure I don't know how you felt when you saw the story about the Ministry of Sport in Cameroon announcing the manager, a new manager for the Indomitable Lions, and the Fecafoot came out to say that they had no idea. They had no idea where that came from. Talking about Marc Brys, of course, is the new coach of the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon. And the Fecafoot, I'll quickly read their statement. They said the Cameroonian Football Federation has learned at the same time as all Cameroonians the appointment to positions of responsibility for the national senior men's football team. Fecafoot expresses its great surprise at this act. The unilateral decision comes at the same time as Fecafoot agreed frank cooperation to achieve a beneficial solution to the future of our dear Indomitable Lions. Fecafoot intends to seek an explanation on this regrettable solution. James, I don't know. This is like, I'm sure the Fecafoot gets its money, subvention from the Ministry of Sport, and the Ministry of Sport took it on itself to appoint a manager for the senior national team without the knowledge of even Samuel Eto'o is the Fecafoot president.
Femi, I wasn't surprised when I saw the story, because I mean it's only in this part of the world that you see such things where the sports ministry go ahead to appoint a coach without the knowledge of the football body. It's in Africa that you see such. It goes to show the level of division in that setup there, because I can't imagine the sport ministry going ahead to hire a coach. Like when I saw it, I wasn't that surprised. Like I said, for some time now there have been issues in the Fecafoot. I didn't know that it has gotten to the stage where the sport ministry, they are now the ones hiring coach for the Indomitable Lions. Femi, it's sad that things are degenerated to this level. It just goes to show that there is no unity. Everybody just doing what they like. The issue with Samuel Eto'o, it was reported that he was begged to continue. So, all those things, they are reflecting on the national team. So it's not a surprise. We also saw how they performed at the last AFCON, where they were so close to crashing out in the group stage before they virtually qualified, before the Super Eagles now defeated them. So for me, like I said, I'm not surprised. It has been going on for ages. This is not a new thing. So the sad part is the national team that will suffer. The World Cup It's just the World Cup qualifier is just around the corner, and there are two such issues. So the earlier they sort themselves out, the better, because it's not going to do them any good. The players that are going to survive, if the players don't do well, you see attacks from all angles, So it's a sad one, honestly.
Okay.
I don't know how they got to this stage, but it's important that they sort themselves out.
Okay, Kayode, I know you can't wait to talk about this. Let's put things in proper perspective. Now, Cameroon is under, a lot of people have called it a dictatorship, where you have President Paul Biya, who has been in charge for over 40 years. And things started playing out, Kayode, after this news broke out about Marc Brys being the coach of the senior national team, about the interference of the Cameroonian government in the affairs of the Fecafoot. And I think we need to cut Samuel Eto'o some slack, because it now came to knowledge that he wasn't the one who actually appointed Rigobert Song. It was Paul Biya who ordered that that Rigobert Song should be appointed as the coach of the Indomitable Lions. Yeah, that came to light yesterday. And of course, if you can remember, of course, issues have been raised, like in 1990, when the president ordered that that 8-year-old Jamila should be included in the World Cup squad. That was in 1990 World Cup squad. So I don't know, whether this will come around as an interference, because in the FIFA law, there is no place that says that the Ministry of Sports cannot appoint a manager. I think the law actually frowns at direct interference, like in election, imposing who runs the federation and all that. Kade, does this come across as an interference that might put Cameroon under FIFA armor?
Let me start by saying that is an aberration, Femi, for the sports ministry to appoint a coach without the knowledge of the FA. I agree with you. There's no law that says the FA the sports ministry cannot appoint and pay a coach for the national team. But it is against common sense, because, let me not deceive you, Cameroon are a member association of CAF and FIFA. But you know what? CAF and FIFA would not directly correspond with the Cameroonian government except through the Football Association. They will not correspond with them except through the Football Association. So if you're going to do anything, you have to do it through, if you are going to write to FIFA too, you have to write to them through the FA. Now, let's look at it this way, Femi. Why just football? How many times have you heard that the Sports Federation hired a coach for the handball team, or the volleyball team, or the tennis team? Why always football? Because everybody's focus is always on that sport. Of course, I agree, it is the national sports of the country, like in most African countries. But then there are some things that are beyond the boundaries of decency. There's nothing that says, like in Nigeria, I can tell you for free that will not happen. What they would do in Nigeria, even though it's closely related, is that they will mandate the NFA to appoint XYZ as manager. Not that the sports minister will sit somewhere and announce a manager. No, that will not happen in Nigeria. I'm not saying Nigeria don't do the same thing, something similar, but they will not be so blatant in their dictatorship. Like, who does that? Now, if the coach does not do well, it is the FA that will carry the can. If the coach does well, the sports ministry will claim that we appointed him because we know what is good for the country. So for me, I think it is wrong. Well, I'm not going to make a case for Eto'o, because in his adult life, he has been a beneficiary of this same dictatorship that you are talking about. Femi, he has been a beneficiary, and you cannot benefit from something and turn around to condemn that same process. No, I do not support that. What I think is the government has not done well, but the Sports Federation has not done well. This like eating Eto'o and the Football Association with the sledgehammer. No, it's not acceptable. Unfortunately, we can only talk about it. We cannot do much about it.
Okay, of course, the FA said they are seeking an explanation, so to say, from the sport minister, and I can bet you that they are not going to get that at all. Of course, Marc Brys he coached in Belgium, in the Netherlands, and in Saudi Arabia, but he hasn't, taken charge of any team in Africa. And of course, it also came to light that at the AFCON, James, at the last AFCON, Jean-Louis Gasset, of course, the coach of the Ivorians, Ivory Coast, who was sacked after just 2 matches because of a dismal start to their campaign, had not managed any African teams before. And they said that was why the coach, he had some ex-internationals around him. So also for Marc Brys, he hasn't handled any national team before. Does that, already there is trouble, so to say, before you even start work? Does that even bring even more trouble? Because if Cameroon doesn't qualify for the 2026 FIFA World Cup, that is going to be a lot of outcry in the country.
Yeah, Femi, the trouble is already lurking around. It's just for it to unravel itself. I mean, we've seen this for a lot of times. Like I said, Femi, it's nothing new. So bringing in somebody who doesn't even have the knowledge of African football, like they just randomly pick somebody, and because the person has a white skin, and just bring him on board. Don't even know the track record, So I mean, it's sad that a big country like Cameroon with rich football history there, we've seen other countries who don't hear things like mostly these big countries. I don't know why it keeps happening. You cited the example of like Nigeria, Ghana. It's always this big country that always get themselves mixed up in things like this. So like I said, it just showed the level of rot in Cameroon football. Just like what Kayode said, I mean, why is it that it's always football? Why can't they just focus on other sports? It's like the sport ministry, so you have to oversee the other how other sports are doing, but you never see them do that. It's always this football, And this is back 1990, just like what you said. When they asked Rigobert to come back out of retirement, fine, you say it was a good call because he went there to create record and but things like this where somebody will sit, that's the problem with Africa. When it comes to institutions, we don't have strong institutions. Just politics. That's just our problem here, So, so that's just us.
All right, well said, James. And of course, I'm wearing a Cameroon jersey today to stand in solidarity with Samuel Eto'o on this one. Kayode, we are still in Cameroon because the players union in Cameroon, they are actually begging club owners to pay salaries. Kayode, out of the 19 top tier teams in Cameroon, only 7 pay players regularly. Kayode, and of course, and the president of the union, which is Jeremy Njitabu, was also in the news recently about infidelity from his ex-wife. He said, and I quote, he said, "We need to put some pressure on the Cameroonian Football Federation, that is Fecafoot, and the clubs, as they should help arrange that all clubs run their business professionally. Unfortunately, we have been receiving more complaints from players about non-payment issues. They get neither salaries nor their bonuses. This season, the situation is much worse than in previous years, as the numbers of complaints have increased dramatically." The same Cameroon, out of 19 teams in the top tier football, only 7 pay players regularly.
Well, it's a familiar story all over Africa, especially sub-Saharan Africa. If you take out the Northern Africans and South Africa, it's a familiar story. Players are poorly paid. The facilities are not there. Pitches are terrible. Officiating is horrible and everything. But the most important thing, the welfare of the players. Because, Femi, I keep saying something. I say football can be played without referees. Football can be played without club chairmen. As a matter of fact, football can be played without a coach. But football cannot be played without the players. So what that means is they are the most important unit in the sport. So if you now neglect them, I wonder why you are a club chairman because you have players. If you don't have players, what are you chairmaning over? Nothing. So it's so sad, and people will sit down in the comfort of their homes and say, African players are dumb, they don't know how to play football, they don't do this, they don't do that. Go and watch Europe. You don't even have any understanding of the challenges these players face, Femi. The other day we were talking about what I said the 3SC coach said about traveling from Ibadan to Maiduguri, traveling to Gombe twice, to go and play Gombe. Femi, I put it to you that if you travel to Gombe, you are not even going to there to play football. It will take you a minimum of 3-4 days before you recover. If you have to sit in a bus from Ibadan or Lagos to Gombe. Gombe is just on the way to Maiduguri. And some teams actually traveled all the way to Maiduguri to play academy. So imagine you having to get there on Tuesday morning, and by Wednesday afternoon, you have to play a game. So this detracts from the quality of football we see. These players are not mentioned, they are human beings. Now, put that fatigue on top of the fact that these players are poorly paid or they are not paid at all. What is some of these players do is just go on the pitch to play in order to market themselves. Maybe a club in Cambodia or Vietnam will see them. That's why most of these African players don't get to go to top clubs again, because the platform to be seen is not there. When you see a player who has not eaten, who is thinking about how to pay his house rent, you put him on the pitch for 90 minutes and he just keeps running around. Then you say he's not technically gifted, he doesn't have tactics, he doesn't know this. It's not just possible, Femi. Until we are ready, maybe we should just shut down the sports in Africa, in most of these African countries. In fairness to those who are doing well, because this same allegations come from Ghana, it is familiar in Nigeria, Togo, Benin Republic, all through the West African coast, up to Cameroon, the Central African Republic, Gabon, all of them. The players complain. There's nothing wrong in paying a decent wage to these players. If you cannot pay it, shut down the team and let everybody go home. Let them go and find something else to do.
Okay. Okay, all right. I don't even know. Maybe we should just pray for Cameroon today, because they are seriously under spotlight. I'm sure FIFA will be watching, CAF as well will be watching this situation very closely. And we even heard that some of the backroom staff that were employed by the sports ministry, they are at loggerheads with Samuel Eto'o about being Fecafoot president. So how are they even going to work together? Well, I think only God can answer that. James, let's talk about Nigeria. Let's take a trip back to Nigeria now. Of course, I don't know whether you've seen stories online about the North saying that it is their time to produce a coach for the senior national team. I don't know. Has it come to that? I don't know, James. And I'm sure you also heard former left back, Super Eagles left back, Ifeanyi is saying that ex-internationals are divided about who should take the job between Finidi George and Emmanuel Amuneke, and he was screaming on radio, condemning his colleagues for such a mindset.
You know, that if truly that's what is coming from that side, that is their turn. I mean, I don't know. Who are they even going to produce? Because without been sounding harsh, or I mean, I've seen
Salisu Yusuf has applied for the job.
We all saw how we ended with him. Even if things are really working, you shouldn't even come close to the national team again. I'm telling you,
After the bribery scandal.
Yeah, then we have somebody like the under-20 coach, Ladan Boso. I mean, that was a disaster. That he's still a national team coach in Nigeria. I cannot. If I'm in charge, I cannot even give him the under-17 for the women to coach, because I've seen his team, and I've been watching his team right from 2007. That every of his team, they play the same pattern, as in a pathetic football. So I'm not trying to watch down the coaches from that side. We have very good coaches from there too, you know. But when it comes to this issue of no, it's our turn. So which means whatever they bring forward, we should not accept it like that. So for them, it's not about competence, about let's have our own turn. So for me, that was the draft. People who don't want the development of football that keep thinking like that.
Okay, all right. Of course, we're still waiting for the NFF to announce a replacement for Jose Peseiro, and a lot of people have been clamoring for the combination of Emmanuel Amuneke and Finidi George for the senior national team. So we get our fingers crossed as far as that is concerned. Kaudi, let's go to Ethiopia, where our player Alele Azene took his life overnight on March 27th. He's been buried now. And he was doing well. One of the highest paid players in the Ethiopian league. You know, the league is actually is one of the best leagues. Is emerged as one of the best leagues in Africa now, because of the influx of foreign players and as well as good payment, you know, remuneration for players. But sadly, he took his life on March 27th. Like I said, he's been buried now. And but what that actually brought to the front burner is the issue of mental health. I think it's one thing that Africans, I would say that we're so used to when people are going through something, we believe that it is part of life. People should just deal with it. Now, this very same player earns about 3 million naira every month. That is about over $2,000 every month as a player. During I play for Bahad City in Ethiopia. How can we, give a human face to some of these players? That's why, sometimes you see fans condemn some of these players as if they don't even know how to play football. They don't even want to win. So how do we bring the issue of mental health to force so that players can actually feel as human beings sometimes?
I think it's a much more cultural problem, Femi, even more than mental. Why most people don't get to come out to talk about mental stress is the fact that they hate the stigma of being labeled mad, crazy, loony. That somebody will just look at you, and you know what they say about no matter how much you treat someone who is mad, that there will be down times when he still demonstrates that madness. So somebody who has complained about mental illness and has been treated, sometimes when he talks to himself, which is normal in everyday life, or he remembers something and he laughs, they will look at you and like, oh, he has started again. So that stigma is why most people tend to not want to talk about it. It's a very big deal. When you go to Europe and North America, you see every institution has a mental health department where you can go talk to people. You go to hospitals, you see where you are given the time and everything.
Who do you talk to here?
Who do you talk to? Because you are going to be labeled. That's the problem. That's why even the issue of HIV has been understated. Most people hate the stigma, so they would rather keep it to themselves, infect other people, and die with it, rather than come out to say, I have HIV, because they know what the stigma is all about. Same thing for mental health. Nobody wants to be labeled a madman. That's the way it is. So it's unfortunate this is happening to a player who is at the prime of his life, and it took his life. No matter what age, taking of life is something that diminishes all of us. If he had an accident, that would it won't make it acceptable, but it would have made it a little bit more bearable, Femi. But somebody just sitting down, imagine his last few days. Imagine his last few hours, then the moment when he chose to do that. You ask yourself, what were the thoughts going through his mind? Of course, it's easy after the fact for people to say, you speak up, talk to people. No, because of the fear of stigma, some would rather go to their graves than talk to people, because the people you think you are talking to will be the first to go on social media and talk about how mad you are, how crazy you are. Nothing is sacred again.
Okay.
In this social media crazy world. That's why I pray that his soul rest in peace, and that most people are able to overcome whatever they are dealing with. Femi, whether in sports or in daily lives, a lot of people are going through very, very difficult moments.
Okay, all right. Please, suicide is not the answer. Please try to talk to someone today. Now, James, let's talk. Finally, before we leave the big talking point, let's talk about the Olympic qualifiers today. The Super Falcons of Nigeria, they have their own issues, late camping, late arrival, and all that. They'll be taking on Bayana in Abuja today at the National Stadium. And of course, also in Zambia, we'll be having the Copper Queens taking on the Atlas Lionesses of Morocco. But let's, James, I think you talk about Nigeria. Waka, they will talk about the Copper Queens. James, what are you expecting today? Later, however, yesterday, Aziza Toshuala and Esther Okoronkwo just arrived camp, just a day to this very crucial first leg. What are you expecting from the Super Falcons today?
I'm expecting a very tough encounter for the Super Falcons, because if you look at the games that they've played, like the last 3 games they've played against Bayana, they've not won in open play in the last 3 games. I remember the Aisha invitational tournament, the Bayana won right here in Nigeria 4-2. They met the AFCON. And before the Aisha Buhari Cup, the Falcon defeated them by penalties. Then the last WAFCON, the Super Falcons lost 2-1. So, and the recent, which means Bayana, they have the edge over the Super Falcons of late. So that's why I said that today's game is going to be a very tough one. So the South African, they've been in camp for over 2 weeks, if I'm not mistaken, and they came early to Nigeria. They arrived early in Nigeria, and they've been preparing hard. And so for me, it's going to be tough for the Super Falcons.
Okay.
How they're going to do it, I don't. But even if they might still edge it, but I don't see them winning by wide margin. There might be a 1-0. So because one thing I've observed about Randy Waldron's Super Falcons is they're a very difficult side to beat, but they don't score a lot of goals. Maybe they score maybe 2. So it's going to be a feisty one. It's going to be tough.
Okay.
I see maybe at worst, maybe it's 0-0 draw or a 1-0 victory for the Super Falcons.
Okay, of course, the Israelis has said that she is targeting a decent result against Nigeria in order to put off a lot of pressure off our players for the second leg. Let's talk about Zambia. These two, Zambia and Morocco, they are the emerging powers in massive swimming football. What should we be expecting? Because the focus is one, just a ticket available, and these two teams is going to be feisty today in Lusaka before the return leg in Morocco next week.
I think, unlike the Nigerian-South African game, this game between Morocco and Zambia will be won and lost on attention to details. The two of them, like you said, are emerging African forces, and the difference between them is not much. But Zambia would take comfort from the way they eliminated Ghana in the previous round. And you remember when we were doing the preview, I told you I would tip Zambia to go through over Ghana, because I've seen them come through the ranks over the last few years. I saw a couple of their games. I saw them at the World Cup, even though they did not get through to the next round, but I saw promise there. And I think they have a better team, player for player, than Morocco. But Morocco has more organization. Morocco has more welfare. So that's the attention to details that I said may make the difference. And the Moroccans, typical of North Africans, will go to Zambia, hoping not to concede too much, hoping that they are able to make to still stay in the game ahead of the second leg. The Nigerian-South Africa game will not be decided until the second leg. I can tell you that for free, regardless of what the result is in the first leg today. But this game, if the Zambians are allowed to open a comfortable, in fact, if they are able to get a 2-goal advantage in this game, then it's all over for Morocco. I can tell you that. It's all over for them. So the technical is about the attention to details between these two teams. Who makes the fewer mistakes? Like, if you allow them to get away with 2 goals, 3-1, 2-0, 4-2, then it's good night for Morocco. But I think the game will be a very, very interesting one to watch.
Thinking about this game, I realized that these are the 4 teams that finished first, second, third, fourth at the last African Women's Championship in Morocco. So that tells you that that Africa is going to get a very good representation at the Olympics. Guys, of course, our star in diaspora today is Marc Brys. Sorry, we do not have time to actually talk about him, but he has scored, of course, did Ayew at West Ham. Ayew scored 12 goals, and now already in under many games, Marc Brys has scored 13 goals already. So Marc Brys of Ghana is our star in diaspora today. Now, the big match, we have just 2 minutes to do this, Kayode and James. So please, I'll give you 1 minute each. Of course, it's going to be table toppers in Ghana, and of course, the reigning champions. I'm talking about Samatex versus Medima. Medima won the title last year, and Samatex, they are currently at the top with 9-point gap ahead of Medima. Kayode, I'll start with you before I come to James. What are you expecting in this game?
I think it's going to be a cracker of a game. It's about the old order, new order. Things are changing now. You expect to see Accra Hearts of Oak. You expect to see Asante Kotoko. They are not there. They are struggling in mid-table. This is going to be, and I expect the tabletop Asante to win this game, hands down. I expect a win for them.
All right. Of course, they are hosting at home, and sadly, Accra Hearts of Oak, and of course, Asante Kotoko, Dakar, mentioned, they are 9th and 10th respectively on the table on 32 points, and RTU, Kayode, sorry, they are still at the bottom of the table. James, what are we expecting? Of course, the two coaches have been talking to Smartex. They said they want to consolidate on their lead, while Medima are saying they want to show why they won the title last year.
Well, I'm expecting encounter. I hope Samatex pressure kicks in. pulled out. So if Samate can get something out of this game, I see them going all the way to win the league. But if it's the other way around, because the team that is behind them is one team that knows what it takes to be in the race for the title. So I think both teams might share the spots.
All right, okay. So we'll get Africa as far as that is concerned, and all the issues that we've raised today. Please, our fans across the world, let us know what you think in the comment section about the issues in Cameroon. Do you think it is right for the sport ministry to have appointed a coach for the Indomitable Lions without the knowledge of the FA? Though they pay the coaches, but should they appoint the coaches? Please let us know how you think or what you think in the comment section. Kayode and James, thank you so much for your thoughts on the show today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Femi. See you next time.
Yeah, thank you, and see you.
Okay, so our fans across the world, please don't forget, don't just watch our video, please share and subscribe. Whatever you think we should talk about, please let us know in the comment section. We'll see you all on Monday. Sadly, we do not have more time left, but we'll see you all on Monday. Have a fantastic weekend. Bye for now.